I saw this post a couple weeks ago from Hemet Meta. I gave the video a look, and not only was Hemet right, the video was even worse. I had never heard of Jesse Lee Peterson, and now that I've finished this project, I wish that I hadn't. Thanks, Hemet. So, why does Jesse think that women are sending the world to hell, literally? Let's have a chat. Hello and welcome. Jesse Peterson recently did a program on education of women. He and his friends say that women should not be educated. Are Jesse and friends so insecure in their masculinity and intelligence that an educated woman is a threat to them? Jesse begins the show by talking about why it's a good idea to get a job in a trade. He spouts a bunch of stereotypes about people on unemployment and concludes with this.
There's a group, a culture of people in America who have relied on the government for nearly 70 years now. And the government has given them just a little bit to keep them there. And look how violent and immoral and lazy and angry and blaming they are today. That's going to happen to the normal society of society of America now. You don't want to do that, folks. I would get out and get a job, learn a trade if I were you, so you can move on in life and not rely on the government or anyone else. Do what you want, especially with the guys. I kind of understand the ladies relying on the government because they need to rely on daddy. They're not able to do it by themselves like that, so they need daddy.
So women need daddy, do they? Women can't do it by themselves? Please tell me where you're getting your information. I have a pretty good idea. I defy you to find any study anywhere that indicates that women lack the same mental capacity and learning capacity of men. If women are so incapable of caring for themselves and others, why is it that 80% of single parent households are headed by women? If women are so incapable that they need daddy, why is daddy abandoning his children and leaving them in mommy's more capable hands? The entire show is over 3 hours long, so we will only look at the portions about women in education, but I wanted to throw in this section as well. I could not believe that he actually said this.
Mommy Africa was a beautiful place. According to the pictures I've seen and people I know who've gone over there, when white people were in charge of it. And now that the blacks have taken over, and because most blacks has a socialist, communist mindset, they have turned South Africa into a destructive, socialist, communist society. And the blacks are not even able to keep the electricity on, the lights on. And they're still robbing and killing and raping and murdering, and they've gotten rid of the cops. And so when the whites gave it over to the blacks, the whole country of South Africa there, they decided to destroy it.
I have never called out a person of color for racism before, but seriously, he wants white people to be in charge of him? Do you need daddy, Jesse?
Because white people giving up America, they're letting the people have it.
I was being facetious, but evidently Jesse really does want daddy white man in charge.
And now they're trying to figure out a way to go to outer space away from the blacks. But the blacks are going to follow you out there too because they're going to demand that you're racist, white privilege, and white supremacy. And you need to let them on the ship too, because evil goes wherever you go. That's why you have to overcome it within yourself and then deal with it in the world around you, because wherever you go, it's going to follow you. So white folks, y'all can go to outer space or wherever. Evil will follow you.
And now he has called black people evil. I don't think he realizes that he just said that. He's reading from a script. It's not like this is an off the cuff comment that was made by mistake and he hadn't thought it through. I can't believe I'm hearing a black person say that black people are evil. Okay, let's get back to our topic.
Liberal host Joy Reid openly mocked conspiracy theory that white people are being replaced. I want you to see the joy in this woman for being of evil and destruction. Watch this.
And I'm not the one spouting a conspiracy theory that white people are going to be replaced via Democratic Party conspiracy to import non-white people to outnumber them.
See how happy she is? Her eyes all bucked out. She's happy to be evil, not ashamed of it or anything.
Wow. Just wow. When I started this project, I thought Jesse was a right-wing nut that bought into the propaganda. And when I heard him say that black people are evil, I thought it was poor script writing. But after hearing this, I now wonder if Jesse even understands what he's talking about. Joy Reid was mocking, not marking, the idea that white people are going to be replaced. Jesse obviously doesn't understand that she wasn't endorsing this idea. She was saying that it was Tucker Carlson's idea, not hers. Yet Jesse doesn't seem to realize that that's what's going on. His only comment is that she is happy to be evil. What has she said that's evil? Jesse doesn't even tell us why this is evil. Maybe because she criticized Tucker Carlson and he thinks Tucker Carlson is a god who is above reproach? Who knows? Earlier, I cut a segment where it became clear that Jesse doesn't write his own scripts, as he didn't know Joy Reid's name and thought it was an error in the script. He had to ask in the middle of the show.
Amazing. This is from MSNBC. What's the woman name on the other Reed woman on with Whoopi Goldberg and all them? So we had two Joy Reids. I can't do this next soundbite because I don't think the name is right.
I would feel sorry for Jesse Lee Peterson that he's being used to say ridiculous things to get views, but he is very successful. His channel has 318,000 subscribers. This man is no small voice in the community, yet he's being used to spout white supremacist, anti-women propaganda that he doesn't even seem to understand. If he needs money so badly that he would say things like this, who really lacks self-sufficiency here? This next segment is Jesse answering a caller that is having a hard time getting his wife to let him lead the family.
She see me changing because the way I'm talking and what I'm bringing up.
Yeah.
But it's like she just know the old me, so it's kind of hard to get her to listen, really.
Yeah. And it's hard for women to forgive anyway.
I'd really like to know where he came up with this idea. Again, likely. When I looked for studies, I found a few saying that women are more forgiving, one saying that it's equal, and one saying that women are less forgiving when the man is unattractive. Maybe that's Jesse's problem. Women won't forgive him because they don't find him attractive.
Your mother turned you away from your father can protect you. And that's what it means to be born in sin. You're born into crazy families. And you must be born of the Spirit. All who are born of the woman are born in sin. And you must be born of the Spirit so you can return to the Father. And then life will be amazing for you, Rob. It's going to blow your mind.
So Jesse Peterson denies Jesus being sinless. After all, Jesus was born of Mary, born of a woman, and thus born in sin. He then needed to be reborn so he could return to the Father. Please, Jesse, tell us where in the Bible, in Jesus' life, he was reborn in the Spirit so he could return to the Father after living in this sinful state. Was it at his baptism? If so, he even had disciples while he was a sinner.
Amazing. Listen, guys, and ladies, stop it. Stop lying to you. pretending you don't know what you're doing. Return to the Father so you don't try to destroy your husband as he's waking up.
We women have to stop trying to destroy our husbands while they are waking up. I'm amused that he thinks women know the score and are trying to stay in power while these men are just beginning to learn their role in life after they are married and are now waking up. At the beginning of the show, he said women weren't as smart as men. But if women are marrying men that let them have all the power, then are able to keep men under their control, as you claim, who is really smarter here?
Because Satan got your mind, ladies, and it's not you, but it's that spirit that's made a home in you that was passed down from your mother.
Evidently, this is a female trait that is genetic, yet somehow Satan is involved in this trait as well. He probably thinks it originated when Eve ate the fruit because she was deceived by Satan. But how did Satan manage to alter Eve's DNA so that she would pass down a genetic trait that causes females to destroy their husbands? If this is a genetic trait, then men must at least be carriers of this trait. It likely is supposed to be a dominant trait in females and a recessive trait in males. Yet if this was the case, 25% of women would only be carriers of the trait and not actually have it, and 25% of men would have this trait as well. I don't think Jesse knows how genetics work.
And they demoralized the young, got them into sex and drugs and living together before marrying. Married other women with children and all that crap, or women marry men with children.
Jesse says that men shouldn't marry women with children, yet he claims to believe in the Bible. And the Bible tells women that are young widows that they should remarry. 1 Timothy 5:14. How is a young widow with children supposed to get married if you are telling the men not to marry them? Jesse tells us what is likely the answer to this question about 30 minutes later.
Be still and know God. It's not all that intellectual stuff. That is evil.
Don't think about it. Thinking is evil.
Shows what's kind of going on in the world right now, I think, because basically I was in a relationship for an hour, a year.
An hour?
I'm nervous.
That sounds fine to me.
Jesse says being in a relationship for an hour sounds fine to him. Amazing. Go sex workers.
I want you to know that what you've been taught about Christianity and the way you should live and all that crap, all the stupid medication they're giving you for antidepressant and all that stuff is so wrong.
This is off topic, but I included it so you can see that Jesse isn't just a clown. He's a dangerous clown. Telling people to stop taking their medications? Where did he get his medical degree?
And Nick, the anchor baby and the producer of the Jesse Lee Peterson show, are an expert. And Chris, the audio engineer, an expert, and also the social media guy. So two things I want to know. So I was thinking about, and I'm pretty sure all you guys know my opinion about it, but since you're experts and you're not always agreeing with me, I want to know, was it a big mistake to educate women?
I love the fact that two of these so-called experts are laughing. They recognize that this is a ridiculously outmoded idea that is only being discussed not because there's any value in the idea, but because it will draw an audience for the shock value. At least that's my take. But what's up with Nick? I'm not sure if he's scowling because he's deep in thought, or he knows that this is just silly.
Hey.
Yeah.
And you say yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you saying it so weakly?
It's not weakly.
Yeah.
I didn't say
so wimpy.
Yeah. I said yeah.
So not only are these guys required to agree with Jesse, they have to do so enthusiastically, or else Jesse repeats the question until he gets the answer he wants. I wonder if it's like Answers in Genesis and they have to sign an agreement to agree with anything Jesse says as a condition of their employment.
So why was it a big mistake to educate women?
Because look at them. They're already like conceited and think that they know better without that stuff. And then when they get the education, and by the way, education is like geared towards girls now.
Women are conceited and are more so when they are educated. More likely, Nick is used to women telling him when he's wrong and he doesn't like it. And women who are educated are more likely to pick up on his errors. You know what is a sign of being confident in your masculinity? Being able to admit when you are wrong and not feeling like you have to be right all the time and be superior. Real strength is being comfortable with others being strong too.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
I
a
don't know
girl.
if it's meant to be like that.
It's a girl education, and it's weak.
And so they're accusing boys of having ADHD and stuff like that. And they're clamping down on fake bullying and all that mess.
Nick doesn't think ADHD is real, and he thinks it's women putting boys down by saying they have ADHD. Okay, let's look at that claim. According to this study, and others that I found with similar results, ADHD is more prevalent in boys, but it's considered to be underdiagnosed in girls. The symptoms are sometimes different. Does he honestly think that doctors are diagnosing ADHD and prescribing medications so that women can control boys? This is tinfoil hat level conspiracy theory. Let's see what studies Nick has for support.
So they're turning boys into girls already.
Nothing. That's what I thought. Now, they are turning boys into girls. Who are they? Are you worried, Nick, that someone's going to turn you into a girl?
And then they saying we shall overcome. Educated women sing that song.
I'd be interested in seeing some support for that claim, too. That's a song from the civil rights movement, which, in his book, Scam, Jesse claims was all a big hoax to try to control black people.
So not only was it a mistake for women to vote, it was a mistake to let them be educated as well.
Right.
How much is too much education for females? Keep them out of colleges, high schools, elementary schools?
You say?
Yeah, it seems like it.
And why do you say yes?
It seems
was
like
a
it.
mistake.
Well, I noticed that women are like leading. They're like leading in education. Like they're the teachers. They're like really involved in that world. But they seem to be they seem to be through education allowing all sorts of just craziness. Like
Education becoming ridiculous now.
As you see from this chart, female dominance in education is primarily in elementary schools, where 88% of elementary teachers were female last year. But in the secondary schools, it was 41% male, much closer to being equal. In colleges and universities, women make up 31% of the faculty and only 27% of tenured professors. Elementary schools have been trying to get more diversity in teachers for some time. Too few men choose this as a profession. Maybe James would like to go into teaching as a career.
Remember
that's how they
that
bring it.
Mahalalala? That one girl?
Mahalalala.
She got shot in the face by some Muslim radicals.
Mahalalala.
She's like a 13-year-old Muslim girl. She's been 13 for like years. And she got shot in the face because she wanted to be educated.
The level of ignorance these men display is astounding. Nick brings up Malala, but he doesn't even know Malala's name. He thinks she is still 13. Why? Because she wrote a book that tells the story of what happened to her when she was 13? If he had bothered to read the book, it isn't hard, Nick. Our library has it in the children's section. It's 327 pages. Nick would know that Malala doesn't want people to remember her as the girl that was shot, but as the girl who fought for girls' education. Her father was 100% with her and an educator himself. And incidentally, Malala is now 24 and is still an activist for girls' education in Pakistan. She is the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and she has now graduated from Oxford University. These guys don't do their homework. Maybe that's the reason that they have a problem with educated women. Their lack of education becomes so much more obvious.
And those Nigerian schoolgirls, never mind that the boys were just massacred year after year. Boys massacred, they ignored it. Boys and men. But the girls, they get kidnapped, and they're like, hashtag bring back our girls.
Oh,
They wanted to
I remember
be
Big Mama
educated.
Michelle saying that.
Yeah, Salma Hayek and all those phony people.
Why does Nick think that no one is talking about it? Here's one article that I found on the subject, and here's a list of other articles I could have chosen from. This is a major issue in Nigeria and has been for some time. Not all of the attacks are on boys. Many are indiscriminate in who is being victimized. What I'm wondering is why Nick thinks that he knows something that is not being reported. Has he been to Nigeria and seen something that isn't in the news articles? Or does he only watch Fox News and they haven't said anything about it?
Because in Africa, if a woman is educated and she knows how to work, then that raises the benefit of the whole village, supposedly.
If women being educated and able to care for themselves and their families is not an advantage to a village, please share with us the research on this point. Or is it still another?
I do know that evil come up from hell through the woman. And Satan knows that, and all his children knows that now, and that's why they're pushing the woman.
Satan is reaching up from hell through women to get to men. What does this even mean? Where did this come from? I'm guessing it's the same source as the rest of his unsourced materials.
But love come through the man from above.
To Michael Jones, Inspiring Philosophy. See what I mean? I realize that you would call this extrinsic religiosity, and you would be right, it is. There is no purpose for this other than the host and his cronies making money. Yet, this is a pervasive attitude in Christianity. Maybe not this blatant and not this cringeworthy, but the general vibe that I get from Christian men is that they believe themselves to be more spiritual, more moral, more intelligent, and or more capable than women.
The people in Congress, you know, the Huffington Post types
Yeah.
who comment on people in Congress, they praise the Republican women who cooperate with the Democrats because the male Republicans are a little bit more manly in that they won't cooperate with the Democrats in the evil that they want to do. But the Republican women, they will cooperate and break the.
And they know that the woman will give in.
standoff.
The women will give in to evil.
And evidently, the gentlemen don't know how politics work either. Guys, it's like this. If you want to pass any legislation, to get any work done, you need to get cooperation from some members of the opposite party. So if only the women are garnering interest in their bills by cooperating with the opposing party members, that doesn't mean that they have caved in or are weaker. It means they are actually getting some work done, unlike their male counterparts that care only about the image of appearing strong, but care nothing about actually doing the job that they were elected to do.
You kind of have to have the love and logic of a man to protect yourself from getting too into education. Let's say you do want to get educated in a sense, right? Like, I want to get into science or whatever. You kind of have to have the love and logic of a man to kind of protect from yourself from, the temptation of education.
I've slowed this segment down for you because it's difficult to catch all of the words at full speed. But even having confirmed the words, it makes no sense at all. You need the love and logic of a man to resist the temptation of education? Oh no, I'm being tempted to get a degree. But wait, I have the love of a man that tells me that education is evil, and my manly logic tells me to resist the temptation of educating myself. Whew, that was a close one. I almost learned something there. Good thing my love and logic protected me so that I wouldn't learn anything.
Chris, was it a mistake to educate women in America?
Well, in one sense it was, but I mean, it was done on purpose for nefarious reasons.
Education of women was done for nefarious reasons? I really wanted to know what these nefarious reasons are so that I could address them, but I listened ahead and Chris never does say what these nefarious reasons are. Does Chris realize that when women were first allowed to be educated, education was entirely in the control of men? So the men had nefarious reasons for educating women? I guess these men didn't have the love and logic of their sex to protect them.
Women are entirely incapable of doing so. I mean, it's not even a this is not a joke. It's not like, oh, I love picking on women. It's not a joke anymore. We're going downhill fast, and we just want to keep feeding people's egos.
Yeah.
And playing nice and doing all this stuff. The quality of everyone's life. Again, we are living in a really nice society. We have all these nice things. The quality will continue to go down and down and down until we're literally in hell, unless we turn this thing around.
Not the best place to pause him, but he rambles from point to point without ever finishing a thought. So let's focus on the idea of women being in charge of anything is sending the world to hell. Literally. Does he understand the meaning of the word literally? For this to be true, first hell has to be a physical place. I'd like him to show me on the map where hell is. Next, how does he think that women are changing the orbit of the Earth so that we are sending it hurtling through space until it crashes into hell? Or does he mean that women are creating hell on Earth so that we are turning Earth into hell? Chris, I have news for you. Most world leaders are still men. 2/3 of all U.S. government positions are still held by men. Either you are mistaken about who is in charge here and don't recognize your own power and privilege, or you think women are so powerful that with only 1/3 of us in positions of power, we weak, illogical women are able to overpower you strong, logical men.
Two things really. It's the creation of it and then the maintenance of it to maintain it. The women cannot do either of those things, and so yeah, it was a massive mistake to educate women.
Women can't create it or maintain it? What is it? The world? The government? A country? You make some bold claims, but then leave them so vague as to be unfalsifiable because no one knows what you are trying to say. Maybe that is some of that manly logic getting in his way.
I noticed that everything the women get involved with, it turned to hell. In the home, the kids turn to hell.
80% of single households are headed by women. If you actually believe what you are saying, you think most children have gone to hell? I hope your kids don't hear this. They might think poorly of their friends. Also, why aren't you telling men to step in and help out instead of telling men to stay away from women who have children? You want all these children to go to hell?
In the school, look what's happening in the schools now. When I was going to school years ago, it was peace in the school. It wasn't this mess.
Years ago, schools were 1 or 2 rooms run by a single or pair of teachers that were almost exclusively female. In 1928, of schools that had administrators, the majority were women. 3 decades later, it dropped to 38%, and by 1971, it was down to 21%. Now it's back to 68%. But in the high schools, nearly 68% of the administrators are men. Is it the little tykes under the women that are turning to hell, or the teens that are under male leadership?
And look what's happening in the churches. They're taking over the churches, and the churches are just no good. Nothing but mess.
Maybe Jesse and friends should start their own church for men only. I think maybe they should make their own society for men only. Let's see how well you can run things without women. I bet you would all die out in just 1 generation, if you last that long.
The government is out of control after women taking over. The media after women taking over.
Yeah.
Everything they touch is just go. It remind me of the blacks. What?
The blacks.
Oh,
Everything that women and black people touch gets messed up. Yeah, I think he needs his own little white supremacist, men-only society. They sound a lot like these guys.
I know insanity's running the show. It's crazy.
it's insane. And they act like the women are smart and equal. Women are not smart and they're not equal to men. It's just a reality. We have to bring back the order of God. That's the only thing that's going to work. The men got to take over.
I wonder what Jesse and Matt Powell think of each other. Jesse and friends are white supremacists, and Matt Powell and friends hate women as much as these guys. I need a break. You probably do too. I saw this pair of crowned cranes at the Lincoln Zoo.
There are transgenders suing the state of Montana over because Montana caved and let them change their sex on their birth certificate if they have a proof of a sex change. They shouldn't have even allowed that in the first place.
And there ain't no sex change nowhere. It
I
just
know.
took
Not
off a
real.
body piece
Right.
and put another body piece on.
Yep.
The sex is still the same.
Recognizing that transgender people can identify with whatever sex they want. Jesse has it backwards. Before the surgery, trans people are who they say they are. The surgery just helps them to look like the sex they already know that they are. The real question is, why do Jesse and his pals care? It doesn't affect them in any way.
But the women are the most likely to go along with a
Yeah,
mess
of
like that.
course. Now they feel sorry. They're emotional.
Emotional or empathetic?
This is from PM Breaking News. Police have confirmed and released a video of an arson attempt last week at St. George Coptic Orthodox Church in
Surrey.
British Columbia.
And Jesse needs help reading the script again.
Silent footage.
Oh, it's silent.
Yeah, silent security cam
It
footage.
looks
She
like
looks
a-
Hispanic.
You think so?
Look at the body type.
I see women look that.
I see fat women in the South.
And they're positive bit.
Not like that.
More racism, body shaming, stereotyping.
I just walked away like it was nothing.
And this a Coptic Christian. What's a Coptic Christian? We had a long
Egyptian.
conversation about this morning in the staff meeting. So a Coptic Christian is a Muslim that turned Christian, right?
They had a conversation in the staff meeting about what is a Coptic Christian. Yet Jesse gets to the show and still can't read the word Coptic. Amazing. Who is it that can't take care of themselves? Jesse, you can't even get through a show reading a script without help. That's more than enough of Jesse. First, to my male viewers, I realize that these clowns are a poor example of your sex. I in no way associate them with all men. I have found nothing but love and support from the male atheists since joining the atheist community. I have found encouragement to be the best that I can be, to grow and to use my voice. This is what it means to be a man that is secure in his masculinity. Next, when I started this project, I didn't know who Jesse was. I looked him up with the Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization that publishes information on white supremacists and hate groups. I found this on Jesse Lee Peterson. Barbara Coe, head of the anti-immigrant hate group California Coalition for Immigration Reform and self-described member of the Council of Conservative Citizens, which considers Black people a retrograde species of humanity, will be speaking this Sunday at a Tea Party rally to expose NAACP lies and their big government agenda. The rally, which is scheduled to coincide with the NAACP's 102nd annual convention, is being sponsored by the South Central Los Angeles Tea Party. Its founder, Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, a controversial black minister and radio personality who once thanked God for slavery, has said that most blacks lack moral character, and who in 2009 wrote an article headlined, "Obama Hates the White Man," for the far-right WorldNet Daily. His beef with the NAACP? According to the press release announcing Sunday's rally, Peterson's Tea Party group alleges that NAACP has made numerous false allegations of racism against Tea Party groups, but has yet to provide a shred of evidence backing up these baseless claims. This charge against the NAACP is false. Finally, if Jesse was as secure in his masculinity as he claims to be, he wouldn't feel threatened by educated women. A secure man wants women to be the best that they can be. We all have areas of strength and areas of weakness. Jesse shouldn't feel threatened by the fact that others know more than him in areas that aren't his forte. Jesse's real problem is that he has no forte. He has no area where his expertise allows him to find his self-esteem. So instead, he draws his self-esteem from putting others down to try to elevate himself. This is not only self-limiting, but it limits society as well. Encouraging everyone to learn and grow gives us a greater pool of knowledge and experiences to draw on. Life becomes better for all. Never stop learning. Never stop growing, no matter who you are. Live your life.